Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation which I kind of wanted to talk about, talking about a particular VTuber convention called WeebCon, which I'm pretty sure takes place over in Texas. And yeah, this is an event that goes on at the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center. A very odd name, but again, obviously that is just the name of the place, right? You can't really change that. So of course, yeah, people have been talking about it recently because of this post that obviously Pippa has responded to, saying Texas hates Face Connect and Face Connect accessories, in quotation marks, Pippa, which if you don't know, there's been a little bit of a dress code thing that's been going on over at this event. And well, it seems that there's been a pretty big misunderstanding. Now they say, haha, what the hell, WeebCon official, guess you can't play cosplay Pippa if you're going to WeebCon. Now, this is the actual, what do you call it, the dress code here. They say, dress code, WeebCon is a family-friendly event. There'll be minors in attendance, so please keep that in mind when you're considering your clothing, cosplay, and conduct. And then they started off with the rules by saying no bunny/Easter themed references allowed in costumes at the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center. This is including but not limited to high cut or leotard style bunny suits, bunny ears, confetti or plastic eggs, religious iconography related to Easter and Easter celebrations. Now, this is very specific. Now, I think a lot of people have misunderstood completely what this means. And I think that a lot of people were pointing this towards the first line here, which says obviously WeebCon is a family-friendly event, and I think people were trying to kind of draw the line between, or try to draw the connection between like bunny girls and family-friendly events, right? But I don't think that's the case, because it was actually kind of revealed that there is also another event going on. Now, they didn't really make that super clear here, in terms of why they are doing this rule, because it does seem like a very weird rule, right? There's a lot of bunny characters out there, including Pippa being one of them, right? And it doesn't make sense to ban, you know, ears or even plastic eggs or even Easter stuff. Like, if people want to cosplay Easter characters or whatever, sure, right? I mean, there's only one Easter character, right? The Easter bunny, that's about it, right? But of course, I think it becomes a little bit more understandable whenever you understand the fact that there is also actually an Easter event happening at the resort at the same time as the con. So there's also another event going on in the same place, and I think it is more so to keep them separate and to understand who is part of which event to keep people safe. But again, I feel like maybe there could be a different way to do it so that they don't have to do this kind of stuff, but I do think it's pretty crazy. And also, some people did point out the fact that under here it says like WeebCon's a family-friendly event, right? And there'll be minors in attendance. They say dance belts, underwear, and nude bodysuits are great tools. Like, okay, bro, like what? Again, I'm not complaining about that, but I do think it is quite funny. The kind of, you know, you're not allowed bunny ears, but you know, you can go around in your underwear if you want. That's fine. Which is crazy. Say this is a policy that was put in place by the venue, and we're respecting our partners by providing this in our dress code. Of course, everything is case by case. So, okay, like this makes so much sense now, and I think that a lot of people have completely misunderstood this, especially this person who has obviously, you know, commented on this kind of stuff. It is a rule put in by the actual venue itself rather than WeebCon. I'm sure the WeebCon would like to include all of this kind of stuff in their event, but they cannot due to the fact that this other event is going on, and that the venue themselves want them to ban anybody from wearing that kind of stuff, which again I think is pretty crazy. But still, that is what the event wants, and obviously, if they want an event, if they want a place if they want a place to kind of, you know, hold their event, right? Well, they're gonna have to follow the rules, right? And I think that is just one of the unfortunate things that has to happen. Obviously, they say, so is Pipkin Pippa okay or not? And obviously, then they respond to that saying, yes, I would suggest that having ears that are detachable in case you're on the Gaylord side of the resort and not on the WeebCon side. The Gaylord will be hosting their Easter-themed events the same weekend for non-con goers at the resort, and we're trying to ensure that any hotel guest doesn't mistake Easter-themed con goers as a part of the Gaylord's Easter events taking place on the resort side of the facility. And obviously say, okay, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, which yeah, it does, right? And I think that, you know, they could have done a better job, though, of disclosing this here, right? They should have said no bunny or Easter-themed references allowed in costumes here. This is included but not limited. They should probably put here, you know, due to the fact that there is an Easter event going on during the place and don't want to cause confusion, right? Just add that little bit of extra line there to kind of like clarify exactly why you're banning it, else it does look a little bit odd, right? It does look a little bit odd if you were to look at it without any kind of extra context, but obviously now that they've responded over on Twitter to this, then it starts to make a lot more sense. And I feel like they should have just said this in the first place, right? We're saying, what's wrong with Pipkin Pippa cosplayers giving out eggs to kids? That would be peak if anything. And obviously, yeah, a lot of people say this and say, okay, that makes way more sense, right? And many people are just like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense now. It's like a huge misunderstanding. And people saying family friendly, no bunny cosplayers, which I think is crazy. Yeah, no, that is pretty crazy, right? Say I could get why for some of them, but bunny ears alone. What? It said I totally get like the skimpy bunny suit in the main area during the day hours, but like bunny ears at all, that's kind of insane. And I think, yeah, it isn't due to the fact of it's not due to the fact of you're not allowed like bunny suits or whatever because of like the kind of sexual nature of it or whatever. It's more so to do with the Easter nature of it, which is crazy to say, right? They have more of a problem with Easter related outfits than they do with like more, I guess, sexualized ones, right? And of course they're saying, so I suppose Cottontail has a clear past. No, and obviously they're talking about the fact that yeah, Cottontail does have some bunny ears as well, which of course she's a VTuber, so it doesn't really matter, right? But people say Onigiri's there as well, Podge, and also Vexoria, and yeah, Evie saying they'll crop her meet and greet screen or something. That would be crazy. They just kind of give her a small screen that is like square. It just kind of cuts off the ears. You can't see them. So you cannot say your convention is family friendly and then include VTubers with fansly accounts. They're practically cam girls with anime avatars. Even though you're invested in VTubers and ASMRs, you got to admit that this is not right. And then obviously they respond by saying, in my opinion, VTubers like Cotton are fine, safe for work-wise, since they differentiate their NSFW/SFW accounts and content. Like the VLO girls are always the sweetest girls ever, and they're just the average VTuber in every way. They aren't out there pushing their NSFW or main, so IMO, it's fine to consider their main persona SFW. I know not everyone would agree with me, though that's what I think, and yeah, I think that's fair enough, right? And obviously we're saying I'm not sure if I can agree with that, given just how perverted she can get on Twitch streams as well, based on the clips. Not to mention, I do not think that you can be as generous with the members of VTuber or people like Aruna Riva, Feifei, or LXOX. Which again, I understand the fact that they're like, oh, this is a family-friendly event, and you're inviting, people who do NSFW content to the event, right? But I think at the same time, it's not like they're, going to the event and just flashing everybody, right? They're still going as a regular VTuber. They're still not going to be promoting their NSFW stuff there. And of course, they do have other stuff whenever it comes to, their Twitter or whatever, right? But let's be real, I feel like a lot of these kids aren't, well, I say a lot of these kids aren't on Twitter. There's a concerning amount of kids on Twitter, to be honest. But I feel like there's not going to be that much of an issue, especially due to the fact that they're not actively, I'm hoping that they're not actively promoting it at the convention itself. Again, if they are, then maybe that could become a problem, and that definitely could be an issue. But I think with them just attending and just being like normal and like, not having any of this being kind of, I guess, promoted, I think that's fine, right? I think it's fine, because they do regular VTuber activities as well. Saying I can't really defend Feifei for family friendliness. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. As I said, her main account is basically her Lou persona as well. So yeah, this is basically hypocrisy from the con, which, yeah, again, I can understand that too, especially with Feifei. But again, I feel like it depends. It depends how they kind of conduct themselves at the event. Now, of course, yeah, it can have a little bit of an issue. But I'm going to be honest, it's just like a lot of VTubers, there's a lot of VTubers in the space that do this kind of stuff, right? And I think with getting into the VTuber space, you're bound to come across a lot of these people. And I think that if you want to protect your child from, certain kind of content and whatever, then they probably shouldn't be looking at VTubers, right? Or like, or you should like kind of at least, kind of put it down to the ones that you think are safe, right? But even then, right, I feel like there might be some kind of issues or whatever, but I understand, some people are pretty skeptical about things as well, but hey, we'll have to see. But yeah, I think this is all a pretty big misunderstanding. Obviously, Pippa also responded saying, what if for these days I'm actually a donkey, like Amiya from Ark Knights, cosplayers get a little pink donkey tail or something, which could be funny. But yeah, I did think it was pretty interesting kind of situation, and it just seems like it was a big misunderstanding from a lot of VTuber fans. And yeah, we'll have to see how this goes in the future. But yeah, that's essentially all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameStop, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.